Hello. Hi everyone. I feel like every stream I change it up, or one of us changes it up, where I'm like, countdown and intro, just countdown, just intro. So
I started just doing countdown, no intro, because like there's a split between it, and I don't like that.
Yeah, it always catches. There's like a moment of our faces, and I'm just like,
yeah, and you're like,
no. So hi. Welcome. My name is EmilyHanhan. This is my dear friend Audra. Audra at home, or Audra double A's. Audra, Emily double A's too. So, you know. And Bo. Welcome to, if you're here right now live in the chat, thank you for being here, for hanging out with us. If you are lurking, you are also welcome. If you are watching on replay, just know that we appreciate you, because we know that not every live thing is always consumable on replay. We try to make it for you, but if you're here at any point in time, welcome. Thank you to all of our mods for doing the heavy lifting in the chat. Thank you to all of our patrons and our channel members. And thank you for showing up on a day that we're not always streaming. So typically we do a stream on Tuesdays on Audra's channel and Thursdays on my channel. This week and the weeks where we do New Makeup Nonsense Bingo, schedules like gonna be a little different. So I wanted to preemptively say we will have a stream Friday night on Audra's channel. Y'all
excited.
Don't miss it. That's all we're gonna say.
Yeah,
no other details revealed. But thank you to everyone that's here now. So many of our regulars and familiars are here in the chat, and some less familiar names. But I see a Thorn and a Holly Rose and Sharon and April and Gabby and Ange and Isabel and Feffy and Liz and Felisa and Angel and just Allie. So many names, so many people. You are all amazing people. Thank you for being so supportive of us. And I hope you're all having a good week. And basically, also, thank you for all of the compliments. I've been seeing makeup compliments in the chat. I just saw Lydia's, so I wanted to say thank you, Lydia. And
I put this shit on Instagram to where it looks not like, I feel like I look weird right now, but
that's what I got. By the way, this is the shit. Just gonna say that.
That's their best. That's their best
if
one.
you haven't seen, and we both have affiliate codes, just gonna say Midas and Drench Genesis palette is the shit. Okay. A little bit of a makeup moment.
Tweeting, so I apologize. I was tweeting after you were live.
No apologies. We all gotta do what we gotta do. And thank you, April. Thank you to everybody. And yes, and Bo is the best pup.
So I was just fighting him to get him out of my lap.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, am I gonna reveal that or not? Literally, like, fine. No, we're not gonna do that right now, sir.
Yeah, because I mean, I do it on my Twitch streams too, where I'm like, no, sir, yeah, go to your spot, because like that's the whole reason for this, is so that he can be closed.
Yes.
And I can stream without him throwing a fit. It's like I have a human child, but it's a dog.
Isabel, the way you say things like this, everyone's looks of Genesis lately have been so nourishing my entirety. Yes. And Faye is coming through with some information. Genesis is sold out on Midas, but on Drench, they still have some left. And we both have codes on Drench. And thank you for Lisa. It's screwing out. I don't know what I'm doing with it. But
you need a mullet.
I mean, I kind of have one. I kind of do.
Get it like more mullety. I don't know if that's a word.
That costs money. And I'm just like, I don't really feel like it.
I got
you. Oh my goodness. All of my, I have a lot of jewelry from a brand called Nature's Twist. They're very crystal heavy, but the shiny ones you're seeing that look almost like mermaid are from a brand that Faye has actually told me about. I think Faye's friend does, called State Your Love. But yes, anything accessory wise, makeup, jewelry makes me happy. And it doesn't have to be fancy either. But anyway, now that we've had kind of like some chit chat, so if you are not new around here, both Audra and I are neurodivergent humans. And we've been revealing, I feel like showing it more and more on the internet, especially over the last year. And we've talked about specific different different topics. But I kind of just wanted to talk tonight about like, okay, it's been a year of quarantine, of the pandemonium, of the panini press, whatever.
Of the Peter Piper picked a pep.
The Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Yes.
Yes.
That's how torturous it has felt. It's been a
really
year of that. And I know for me, the last year has revealed a lot about me to myself. And a lot of it's related to neurodivergency and my brain, basically. And also having friends, our friendship, and other people in my life, like, have been hugely informative. But I don't know, I just kind of wanted to chat tonight about how in particular I feel like the last year has opened, I think, a lot of people up to learning more about themselves. Not just neurodivergency, like gender, sexuality, all of these things, but in particular neurodivergency. So that's kind of
and
it's kind of what inspired this topic.
And just to tell you, listen, no, today the double A's are, for me, ADHD and autism.
That I did not get that. Okay.
That's why I'm the double A's, because I'm ADHD and autistic. And yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a journey because for several years, like even when I got diagnosed ADHD, I would, like, they were asking at the time, like, maybe you should get assessed for autism. And I was like, no, because there's like negative connotations attached to autism that, like, at my age, I'm going to be 41 next month, y'all. But at my age,
birth month starts tomorrow. Oh my
God, it is tomorrow. Holy shit.
Two of my really good friends are April babies, and my one friend Jen is like all about birth month. So I'm like, yes, April is a major birth month. Speak of the devil, Kelly and Josh, owner of Drench. I was literally just hyping this up. Okay.
For real.
Oh yes, I'm a double A, ADHD and anxiety.
I do have the anxiety, but a lot of my anxiety comes directly from my ADHD. So, and like, oh yeah. So see, there I go. So for years, they were like saying that there were negative connotations attached to autism because at my age, all I had ever seen of autism was very much nonverbal behavior, and like out of control temper tantrums. There just wasn't a representation of people just living, and they were only showing the furthest possible end of the spectrum. They were not showing the everyday people who have autism, who just like like there's things that I don't do. Like I don't do sad. I don't know how sad works. I don't do sad. And I've spent my entire life trying to like mimic sad, and I'm very bad at it. But yeah, like quarantine is like gave me the space to like sit back, and TikTok helped, watching a lot of
TikTok
neurodivergent people.
Huge help. Like the amount of information through, I guess, also anecdotal experiences that people have shared that I've learned about myself and about other people in my life is through the roof. Like,
yeah, because like
mind blowing.
It TikTok is very, very helpful, because when I saw other people, because every time I went to go see my psychiatrist for anything, they would always like say, maybe you should check on the autism. I was like, no, I'm good. But then I lost my job, have been home doing YouTube full time, basically doing social media stuff, content creator full time this entire time. And I just started looking at my life and being like, You know what? You know what? Yeah. I am a person with autism. And it is, it's okay. Like, it's been very helpful to me because, like, now
Yeah.
I can communicate in ways that help me to have enjoyable times with other people, my friends and family, like ways that make it to where I'm not just holding up in my house or like declining all invitations. Now I
Yeah.
can be like, yes, I would like to do this thing with you. However, these parameters have to be here in order for it to be comfortable for me. And I know that that seems selfish, but if I don't do it, it's going to be messy.
Yeah.
Like,
And the reality is that I think also as somebody who is neurodivergent and who also like, I don't see that as selfish because I see it as saying I have boundaries, I have needs, and I want to be a part of your life and I want you to be a part of my life, but I don't want interactions to be stressful, painful, harmful for me. And even in the moment, if it seems okay, sometimes this is kind of a BDSM sexual term, but I feel like it's relative. The aftercare that I have to do for myself
yes.
when I do these social interactions and I don't put those boundaries up and I don't have friends and people in my life that respect those boundaries, the after effects and the aftercare are incredibly impactful in a way that makes me so I have not been diagnosed with anything, which I think is self-diagnosis is something that I accepted. I've had to do it. I feel like, especially if you live in America or many other countries where mental health care is not easily accessible, you do what you got to do as long as you can be as informed as you can be. But social anxiety and ADHD, along with depression, which I think of as a neurodivergent thing, but I'm not sure exactly where it lands. But those are like my big three. But with
Yeah.
social anxiety or anxiety, it's like if I know I'm going into a situation where I'm like, okay, I want to be there, but like I also know I'm probably going to be pushed past what is my comfort zone. I'm not going to be talking with anyone for days afterwards. I'm not,
Yes.
sometimes the whole next day, I'm not doing anything physically, like not leaving bed, not doing, because that one experience was so stressful. And,
Yeah.
and so like, in a lot of ways, I had already shifted my life and how many friends I had and how interactive I was. And the last year, in a weird way, like, yes, being isolated and being at home, being in a Brooklyn apartment with no outdoor space and like none of that access has been very, very hard, but not feeling this silly pressure to go do things or go to this or go to that because it just wasn't safe. And I wasn't going to risk anything for basically putting myself possibly in debt to deal with. I mean, like, not even thinking about the actual physical after effects of the pandemonium of, the big C. Just the thought of like, I could possibly take myself into complete debt if I got sick. So I wasn't going anywhere. And we've kind of joked about like, have we both gotten a little agoraphobic?
Listen.
Maybe, but I'm also very realistic about yeah. Also, actually, Fefi makes a really good point. So one of the reasons why TikTok has been so helpful about ADHD is because all of the information about ADHD is often about small children.
Yeah.
And for so many women and femmes, we don't get diagnosed because it's like a boy thing. It's like a little boy thing. It's not a little girl thing. So to be an adult and to find people on the internet talking about different things, learning about rejection sensitivity dysphoria. Is that it's RSD?
Yeah.
Learning about RSD for me, I was already kind of life changed about how I've learned more and more about ADHD. But when I learned about RSD, I was like,
yep. And keep in mind, like the reason that people have that negative connotation on even ADHD is because when it started to become like ADD, ADHD, when it started to become prevalent in the 90s, what a lot of people don't remember is how toxic masculinity made fun of this. And basically what continued to happen is they're like, they just don't want boys to be little boys. And that's where yes. And so they were like, they're just medicating them so that they won't be little boys. They want them to behave like girls. Because at this point in time was really when there was a shift in how like the world was being handled. Like women were in more positions of power, women were doing more stuff and doing well in school and getting into STEM in ways that like hadn't been going on. And as soon as they started recognizing that this was a pattern and that it's a brain, you know, it happens in the womb, y'all. Like this isn't, you know, it's not curable, you know. So there came this like overwhelming push to start being like, oh, they just don't want boys to be boys.
Oh yeah. So I'm with Lydia. My memory just opened up. The whole boys, they don't want boys to be boys. They're just over medicating. They're just this whoa.
So, like of course, by the time they started to realize what they really had, and then add on top that girls had it as well. And most the thing, and here's the thing that's bats. When you go look on anybody who talks about this, specifically women and femmes, you're going to find how many are diagnosed late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, 50s. They've been spending their lives in misery, like trying to figure out why they can't do anything. They're just like, I can't do anything. I'm a loser. I can't do I switch jobs all the time. Baby, you're bored. It's your ADHD. You're okay. You've mastered something and you want the next thing, but like not the next thing that they offer you. So you just switch careers. Like it's okay. So quarantine has been very helpful. And I will agree with you on self-diagnosis. It is valid because a lot of therapists, a lot of people who do this actually, and like doctors have started saying, tell us what you think that it is, because it may be something that we didn't think of, which, you know, we didn't send you to med school for that, but okay. But still.
But I'm happy to hear, even if that's now 1%, 5% of doctors, I mean, it should be a bigger percentage, but I'm happy to hear doctors being open to that, because there was always this, and I think there still is this looking down on like WebMDing your issues or Googling your issues. Are like, oh yeah, you think you have everything, you have cancer and you have this and you have that. And it's like, no, but if I've consistently had a thing for decades, thing upon thing, and when I look up this one thing, ADHD shows up. I look up a different thing at a different time, ADHD shows up. I look at a different thing at a different time. I'm like, maybe it's that. No, you're not gonna listen to me. Like yes, I want you to have your knowledge and your and be the one that's proactive in helping me figure out what it is. But also if you're listening, that's nice. Yeah,
it's really helpful, because like think about the access to information we have today is access we didn't have before. And especially in America and the US of A, doctors, if you get to see a doctor, they spend like this much time with you. So it's actually very helpful for you to have information being like, listen, I have this, and this. And to go all the way back to somebody who was talking about bipolar disorder, I'm going to say this, it is the most overdiagnosed or incorrectly diagnosed disorder for women, period. Everything that is wrong with it, like not wrong, but like anytime they look at something that's going on with women, they just go, it's bipolar, hit you up with some meds and move you along. And a lot of women and femmes have had to take these moments and go, okay, well, I'm taking this medication. However, I don't feel like I'm having these upsies and these downsies that you keep talking about. Like like the manic episode that we're discussing at this point was literally me just like in a high ADHD moment. Like my hormones were up, like everything was like bam, and I was like boom, and I was buying shit like crazy and having a good time. And then it just like slides down. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't need anything right now. Like my impulsivity's gone. Like I'm good. Like
and the thing that I always heard about bipolar that was, so it was always thrown out as like oh, people are so whatever. Like manic moments aren't moments. They're not just like, they don't just happen in a way. And I'm like, okay, so why were you looking at a lot of women who are having moments and not hours, days, weeks of mania? Like that was the thing that I was hearing about bipolar in terms of like how it was over or like even like in media, in movies or whatever. It's like, it's not these like super highs that go away really quick and then super lows. And I'm like, okay, but it sounds like that's what you saw in actual humans and we're diagnosing them as that.
Yeah,
like,
because it doesn't make sense. Like they like Leary's saying, a doctor that had met me for roughly 3 minutes, not exaggerating, diagnosed me with bipolar. I've been in therapy multiple times, and that had never been my diagnosis. And that was what, like, I experienced that. I got diagnosed bipolar, and I was just like, y'all, like, I don't have highs and lows. I have like a very like, there are emotions that I have difficulty processing. That's where the autism comes in. And I don't know how to get them out at times. And so there were times where I was just like, I want to crash my car into a fucking wall. Like, just to find like an outlet for the emotions that bubble up, because I do happy very well. I can do, like, I definitely do angry. Emily knows I do angry. I can do like joy, but there are emotions in between that I don't know how to process. I don't understand how to handle them. And I have spent my entire life trying to like mimic what everybody else does. So it's like, and Emily can tell you, like, even just talking to me regularly every day on Marco Polo, they can tell when I've been like watching a lot of Black TikTok. Because I come out, I'm like, girl, you better get off my fucking, listen, you're going to get fucked up, and you got me fucked up if you think I'm about to do. But like, that's part of not only ADHD, but also autism. Mimicking is a part of trying to like be normal. Both sides of that try to do that, to try to like not be seen as weird. So you learn to behave like those around you, which is why a lot of people with ADHD and autism tend to end up very quickly speaking like the people that they are talking to. So if you're speaking to someone British, don't be surprised that within 5 to 10 minutes you should be like, oh no. Like, you're not trying to make fun of them. And I find instances of it talking to James, like Welsh, I don't like to say that, but like British.
Doesn't matter.
And I find instances of it when I talk to him, and I like have to like try to force myself not to do it because I don't want him to think I'm mocking him. But I'm like, I'm not mocking you. I actually cannot help it. I like literally can't stop myself from doing it. I'm trying really hard.
But see, and this is the thing, is that like, I love having these conversations because, okay, so like I will say for myself as well, over the last couple of years, and then having just been like, been friends with you for the last year, little plus year, like, putting those things out to the world, or at least to our friend group, and being like, hey, this is a thing that I do. I'm not mocking you. I just tend to mimic, or like how my closest friends, especially the ones that are here in the Brooklyn area, they know that like I don't do well in big groups. Like, I've tried it. I will sometimes go out to a bar or that kind of setting, but a lot of times like they because I've made it clear, like, hey, I really like, it's not, or like when I turtle for days and don't respond to text or anything because I'm in a depression hole. So I really like these conversations also to give you that like strength to be like, hey, like how you talk about small talk, to be able to say to friends, I don't do small talk. If I reach out to you and I go straight into a question I have, it's not because I'm trying to use you. It's because like, or it's like if I start mimicking your accent or like certain words that you say that are specific to your region, it's not because I'm making fun of you or trying to become you, trying to like, do that. It's because that's something that I do to kind of cope, or that's something that comes with my autism. So I really like I get that you can't be open to everyone in the world because it can be dangerous. It can be dangerous for job security. It can be dangerous for all these other things. But people that you really care about and you want to have that connection that feels if they've already shown that they are a safe person for you, and bye Yoni, and this is not an easy thing to like, it's not crystal clear, but when you can be like, hey, this is what I need, or like, hey, this is why I do this, it's like it's changed the way my friendships are, completely transformed them. Like being able to just be me with our Marco Polos, me rambling on or this or that or whatever. I'm just like, even when I'm judging myself, I know that like you're just like full of love and light and for real. So it's that's one thing. And like you did that recently with a friend where you're like, hey, I want to do this, but this is what I can do. This is where, and then y'all found a middle ground. Yeah. And I'm just like, it just made me so happy because I was just like, for those of us that are neurodivergent, we're not bad people. We're not broken people. We're not incapable of living our lives, but we do like need things just like everyone needs things.
Yeah. Like I don't want to be fixed. And it's like, I put out the video today.
Great video, by the way.
Thank you. And I really wanted to just show people, and like obviously if I like just left it uncut, it would just obviously only cutting out like when I got up to get things. If I left it that long, it'd have been like a 50-minute long video. But 40, it would have been 50 minutes. But I wanted to show people what it actually looks like how my brain, like this is just me talking to a camera and this is what my brain is doing. And you're like, this is the ride you're going on. So just understanding that, like, I'll be like, oh, the greatest thing since sliced bread, like I did. And that was not me making, like, that was not me trying to do something like, oh yeah, also it's weird that people say that because like, that's not even great. Like, and like going on this whole tangent.
Yeah.
People who aren't neurodivergent, a lot of NT people, neurotypicals, get very upset in having conversations with people like myself because they can't handle all of the different like routes that it takes to get to wherever you're getting. And I'm like, please understand that a lot of my stories may not end. They may not end. I may not finish it. I may never remember. If Emily often does a very good job of being like, you were going to tell me ... And I'm like, oh yeah.
Because I'm also a nosy bitch. And I'm like, wait. And whether it's something about like something related to a video you're doing or a makeup product or something about Bo or a movie you watched or a video, like, I'm just like, I want to fucking know. So sometimes I'm like, wait, there's like, it like hangs out in my head and I'm like, Audra never told me about this one thing.
Meanwhile, I didn't know today was Wednesday and my remote control is lost. It's been lost for an hour and a half. So like, I don't know where it is. I swear I must have put it in my hand and I don't know where I have put it. Like I'm like looking around. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I've looked under everything and it's probably going to just bite me in the face in like 10 minutes.
This is really interesting. Flora Lisa said, I tweeted something before about how neurotypicals, myself included, often get annoyed or mad at people that don't instantly get jokes and sarcasm, or we don't often realize that as ableism.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard. So I think sarcasm is one of the things that clued me in. Like, I've known for a long time that depression has been something that I've struggled with in different degrees. And I kind of realized the social anxiety thing probably about a decade ago. But the sarcasm, it's such a weird thing because like I love sarcasm. It's like delicious to me. It's one of the most, it's fun to use. It like well used by other people in movies and books. Like I love it. But there are just moments where I just don't get it. And I'm just, because like I also don't want to, okay, so this I think goes to my RSD. So RSD is rejection sensitive dysphoria. And basically I'm not going to give you the full rundown because it's pretty complex, but like one of the things that people with RSD often do is they become a people pleaser. And so sometimes for me, I don't want to assume sarcasm because I don't want to assume that that person is being negative. And so, like, I'm giving them a moment to just be like, just tell me what it is. Because if you're being a salty bitch, I want to be a salty bitch with you. But if you're not, being negative, I don't want to be the asshole in the room. Like, I want to be the asshole with the other assholes. I don't want to be like the only asshole in the room. And so sometimes with sarcasm, it'll like my brain is just like, wait, but are we? And so I'll just stop and be like, wait, is that? And it's nice to be able to say that and not get like laughed at for being gullible or whatever. Like it can either sound or feel hurtful. Sometimes sarcasm, especially when it's in text form, and even sometimes in video. Sometimes if you're not in person, it's just different.
Marco Polo has become my best. Like that's why I love that app. Like to communicate with people. Like anybody who's my friend, I'm like, please just let me talk to you on Marco Polo because I can see you and I can go back to it. Like that's the thing is I can rewind it, like, and I can go, wait, I forgot what you said here, and I can go back and re-listen to it.
Marco Polo has been amazing. I think it's that part. It's the fact that it's always there and you can go back and listen to it. Because I do some video messaging on Instagram. But I would prefer that everyone I talk on Instagram would just get on Marco Polo. Because with Instagram, most of the time, you can only watch it twice through unless you have unless they have their settings changed. Yeah. And there will just be times where, like, I will just forget what the beginning of the conversation was by the end. Like Alex, sincerely Alex, we talk through Instagram. But we will go on long trails where we will send each other, like, 15 Instagram messages at a time because they're like 15 seconds or whatever. And sometimes by the end, I'm just like, I don't remember what you talked about at the beginning. I'm sorry.
I disassociate so fucking often. I don't even know I've done it most of the time. And that sucks because then it looks like you're not listening to people. And you're like, no,
eye contact.
I just can't. I hate eye contact. Okay. And it's a nightmare and people need to make me stop doing that.
College, even before college, but like college when they would always talk about job interviews and making eye contact. And I was just like, I cannot do it. Like,
I know. I'm like this. I'm like when I try to make eye contact, I'm like my face starts to twitch. I'm exaggerating
my eyes. I always like flit. And I asked this to Audra before. I was like, wait, do you have trouble making eye contact with like video, with like the camera with filming? And you were like, yes. I was like, okay, thank you. Cause I will just be like looking down or looking over.
It's why like I look over at my monitor quite a bit because like somehow it's comforting to like be looking at the monitor and talking to me. Like I'm talking to myself. So it's like comforting, but beautiful ASMR. So in my family, yes, but with celebrities or whatnot, like there's people in my family that I might notice like have varying neurodivergencies. However, there's things that you learn if people aren't ready to deal with it, or especially if they come from a different era. It's sometimes best to just leave them alone, especially when you can see it in your family, like they're having like some of the exact same mannerisms. But it's very important, no matter what you think is going on with somebody, that you don't try to diagnose them. Because you have no idea, like people can react very negatively. Like I was telling the story earlier, how I reacted so negatively to, even hearing the word autism, I was like, no, ADHD I can deal with because like people, this is fine. This is fine now. Everybody like, this isn't a problem like it was in the 90s. But autism, I was like, nope, no, I can't listen to it. But then I had to just start looking at my life and being like, okay, like I shared this on TikTok. I was probably 21 years old when I stopped playing with dolls.
Yeah.
I used playing with dolls to help me understand how to interact with people. They were my tools. Like if somebody's, so I played with Barbies, I built them houses. I like tried to like live the life that you're supposed to live. All the things that people wanted, I was trying to like act it out with dolls. And that's a secret I kept for a very, very long time because I was super ashamed of it because like, how can you be that old? And even if you go look at my new makeup nonsense, my realization that I was watching new episodes, mind you. I was not watching the replay. I was watching new episodes of fucking Lizzie McGuire at 21 years old. I was 21 being like, this show's the best.
Also, hey T. Welcome.
Hi T. Thank you for making me feel ancient today.
I watched that I think on Monday because it was on Patreon, and I'm not always early, and I was watching it and I was like, yep, I feel old.
I know.
Yes.
Like, I'm ancient.
Like I think that I think that there's like a way, first of all, talking about things does help for people that want to listen. It helps them open their mind to the concept of being somewhere on that neurodivergent spectrum. But actually diagnosing somebody, no. And like I know for me, when it comes to like my family, even when I was living at home, like trying to talk to them about like maybe y'all should go, no. And I know you've had a similar, or you've had an experience with some of your family, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's probably its subject to just put to the side, pack it away, see if they're ready at a future date.
Yeah, like even when I talked to Jen, who I don't know if a lot of y'all know this, but has worked in special needs when they were a teacher for a very long time. Excuse me. Some of the things that I would talk about with them, like talking about, I just sucked a lot of spit to the back of my throat.
I was going to say, well, then I just wanted to quickly say, somebody asked earlier if RSD, rejection sensitive dysphoria, like kind of where it fell. It's usually related to ADHD and not as much autism, but I don't know if it has a specific like source in that way, but I know it's based on ADHD. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. You're talking about yes,
I'm like,
I was like, wait,
over here, my own brain. I'm like, where were you? I'm like, oh, come back. Because I knew you were going to stop talking. This is what pisses me off. I knew you were going to stop and be like, continue. And I was like holding on to the thought, like there's a TikTok where this person is like cooking and they're pouring a cup and they're like one, and then they get another like two. And like, does anybody else count like this when they're cooking? I'm like, yes. But Jen had even said that like later when I finally said like, yeah, you know, I am autistic. And they're like, you know, I was going to ask, but I didn't want to be rude because I didn't want you to be upset. But there are a lot of things that you talk about, like food texture, the texture of this. You have these sensitivities. I cannot stand overhead lights. I have one on right now just for this live stream, but like I fucking hate them. My house is normally dark. It actually, like my mother kind of gets like weirded out when she comes over. She'll be like,
always like, turn on your lights.
Yes, she's like, why don't you have any lights on? I'm like, overhead lights make me feel it like it drives me batty. Oh, there's something like I feel like it's because one, overhead, it's like above me, and so like I feel like I'm always having to do this, and then the other is it makes like a sound. It makes this sound like above me that I can hear. It's like it's a like a buzzing, and I can't.
Your noise sensitivity and like smells, like your senses, I feel like are so heightened compared to I feel like a lot of people that I know.
I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
But yes, the humming sound, like anything electrical, humming, ticking, I know that's an issue.
Yeah, like I get so excited about my clock. Like any chance I get, I tell people, I'm like, oh, y'all, the clock I have that's behind me in my videos, it doesn't tick. Like I get so excited, like because
ticking is the devil.
A non-ticking clock. I just Google. I was like non-ticking clock because I like the look of those kinds of clocks, like with the hands and all that shit. But I hate ticking, and it's why I can't wear watches. Like a lot of watches that have I'm like, no, because the very moment that it's like off my wrist, because I let it become a part of me when it's on my wrist. I know that it's happening, but when I take it off my wrist, it just everywhere. I'm like, tick, 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 tick. You hear that? You hear the ticking? You hear the tick, tick, ticking? Yeah. You don't hear the speakers? Like when it was surround sound, like did you turn off the speakers? I used to ask my ex-husband that all the time. Did you turn off the speakers? He's like, yeah. I'm like, no, you didn't. And I'd get up and go turn them off because I could hear them. And like they were in another room, like, but I could hear them in the bedroom. I was like, no, you didn't. And I would like lay there and he would like, what the fuck? I'm like, I can hear the noise that it is making.
Yeah.
It makes the buzzing, it goes.
You would hate my refrigerator because I'm with Jess. I wish I could get away with unplugging my fridge because it has a horrendous loud hum. Yes, my fridge also has like one of those hums where I'm just like, can you shut up?
Oh my God, T, I cannot. I have to sleep with the TV on because it blocks out all the rest of the noises. But here's the thing: I sleep with the TV on. And I very specifically, like I had to tune myself because my Fire Stick in my bedroom stopped working when the power outage, like, cause it blew out basically because it like the power blew out and then came back on. And then what happened is the power went out and then at some point it came back on. And within a few minutes it went out and then it came back on, then it went boof back out. So it blew out my Amazon Fire Stick. So, and I need to just get another one. I know, listen, I'm not apologizing for my Fire Stick. Anyway, because that TV
I don't think you need to apologize.
But so I had to basically tune myself to the sound of the DVD player because it makes a whirring sound that actually makes me fucking batty. And it turns me into a batty bitch. But I had to like tune it into my brain. I don't exactly know how I did it, but I just tuned it to be like, this is a sound I can deal with. And then I have to listen to murder. Like murder stories, murder in a horror movie. And there's very specific horror movies that work for that. Like I can watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I can watch Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street, but not the original one, the newest one that everybody hated. I can watch that one, but I can't I have to hear that. And so like, I need that because essentially what it does is it blocks out the AC. It blocks out any noise that the fridge and the freezer are making. It blocks out any outside noise because I don't know how I learned how to do this, probably being undiagnosed for as long as I did. I just learned how to like tune my ears to like the sounds I need. Cause I talked about that too, where I was like, isn't it weird how like, I can't fucking hear in the daytime, but as soon as like 5:30, 6 o'clock,
you're just like, everything is too loud.
Emily, every fucking day, like I'll walk and take Bo out and the TV's on. I come back in, I'm like, Jay, fuck, why is it so loud? Who turned it? Like, I swear that somebody just comes into my apartment, like, and it's like, Audra, nobody came in your apartment, especially if I end up taking. I'm
not apologizing for my Fire Stick. It's hilarious out of context. Thank you, Peppy, for catching that and like.
Listen, T, you will absolutely listen. Marco Polo gives me life because, and it's so funny because I have some people who will be like, oh, I'm so sorry. It took me so long to respond. I'm like, first of all, ADHD, I forgot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know when it was the last time that you said anything. Like Alicia did that, was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It took me like a month to get back to you. I was like, I forgot. I don't even know what I was talking about at the time. But they had it like, I loved their polo, and I actually still haven't finished it. Like, that's the thing, is if I know I want to say something back immediately, or there's something else that I want to do with it, I don't finish it and it stays there. And then like I go back in, I'm like, okay. And then I watch it.
Faye is making some good points, though. I think one of the things the pandemic has done for me is taken away all these coping mechanisms that you didn't even know I had, and made the symptoms of my ADHD so much worse. Yes, I'm sad this isn't talked about. I worked at a job up through like May of 2019 that I didn't realize until after the fact, like, no fucking wonder I had a job like that. That just fed into my ADHD so much, because I answered phones, I wrote emails, I was a project manager, I dealt with customer service, I worked at a bakery, but I was basically like the assistant to the owners, project man, like just, and literally you're bouncing around all day, and I would be frustrated because I would feel like I got nothing done today because I would get interrupted, and it wasn't just, it was like, obviously I had the skill set for this job. It, in my head, how I view it is like, I had the skill set for this kind of job because that's the kind of ADHD made me this kind of like jack of all trades kind of person in workspaces. But then I feel like that work environment like let my ADHD kind of just like live and thrive in a way, as toxic as that work environment was. Like, in a way, I feel like it helped activate it more, I guess, in a way. And then like I stepped away from that job, and 10 months later we had the fucking Pan Dulce, and I'm just like, okay, I'm working from home now. And then like the amount of work I had dropped down because of everything. And so now I'm like, my brain is just like there was just ways in which my ADHD turned into this like, okay, we want things to do, but we don't actually want to do anything. And so like being able to go out and work in a coffee shop totally fits my ADHD brain, because not only does it break up my day, because I get to leave the house, I might go on a trip on the subway, then I'm working around people, I'm distracted, but I'm doing work. And like it felt like something new and different, because I didn't want the same old. I don't like routine in a lot of ways. I think I do. I want that
until like, you do it and you're like,
I want to be a morning person. I want to set up routines for myself and all of that. And then I try to do it and I'm like, I don't like it. I want to do what I want when I want. And in a way, this last year has let me do that, but in the worst ways. Like, your brain keeps you awake till 6 a.m. and then you sleep from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay.
Like, see, here's the good news. My good news is that a lot of times my autism makes me fucking exhausted from like having to mask and do all these things.
That's very true. Yeah.
So like today, like I almost fell out today. I was literally in the Tom Thumb for probably 15 minutes. I rolled in, but as I was walking in, like this guy was like backing up from his spot. He almost like he didn't almost hit me, like, but he thought he almost hit me. And I was like, oop. And then he didn't move. And then I was like, well, I will just go around. So I went around, and then he was like, oh, I thought I lost you. And I was like, no, I didn't expect to be talking to anybody. So then like I had a little bit of a conversation, at which I feel like I almost met my sugar daddy, and now it's over. Anyways. So then I go into the Tom Thumb. And then I'm like moving around. By the way, the excitement I felt when I saw somebody in the aisle and they were like dancing to the song I was like I really did. I walked by and then I walked backwards and I was like, and then I kept going, like so that they couldn't see me and they wouldn't get weirded out by me being me. And then I had to like zigzag my way through people, because there were like 3 people in this aisle, and I was like, ugh, and I zigzagged through, got creamer, and was leaving. And the amount. Like they were just having small talk with me, and I was like, I can't. Shh,
No.
They're like, because they're asking about my mask and they're like, oh, is that from Supernatural? I'm like, they're like, oh, I like that show. I have the necklace from I'm like, I don't care.
And yes, okay. So this is the other, like, kind of the ups. There's many upsides of the last year, as bad as it was. I think for, like, I know, Audra, for you, not being forced to be working in the spaces you had worked before, not being forced to mask, not being forced to deal with that daily, like, racism and sexism you were facing in these workspaces. Those are all perks of the last year.
Yes.
Even if you feel like I in some ways feel much more raw. Oh, night, Tia. Consistently more raw over the last year because you're feeling all these effects of, like, the burnout. And I think that's the thing, though, is that this year has also, I'm finally coming to accept that, like, I need what I need.
Yep.
And for me, with my anxiety and my depression, if I'm having a day or a couple of days where, like, I'm off the grid, I'm out of it, I can't, not doing anything, like, obviously that can't be every day of my life, and it's not an ideal situation, but I also have been trying to be better about beating myself up because my brain sucks. Like,
yeah,
because it's really hard to be like, well, what's so hard? You're at home, you're getting your groceries delivered, you're like, and I'm like, you know, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I'm like, yeah, but there's all of this other. Yes. Okay. Thank you for saying it so articulately. Epic Quest Beauty forced us to look inward. We couldn't hide issues with busy work.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
I had to spend time and look at myself and be like, you know, you say ADHD, and yet these two things, because, like, if for those of you that don't know, having ADHD and autism, it can be oftentimes a pain in the ass because they fight each other. So, like, I'm exhausted from masking and doing all the things that I need to do to, like, be normal for other people and make sure that, like, and I'm still working on not feeling like I have to do it as much. But then then my ADHD is like, I'm sorry, I know you wanted to rest or whatever, but, like, I can't not be stimulated. So I'm like,
yeah.
So that's why I sleep. Like, that's another reason why I sleep with the TV on, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to go to bed. Like, the two things, like, battle each other.
Yeah.
Like, I want to sleep, but my ADHD brain's like, we need things to happen. And I'm like, hey, I just want to go to sleep.
Also, please know, anytime tonight that I laugh when I feel awkward, and I also just laugh because Audra is my friend, and I have, like, experienced a lot of these things in real time, and I'm just, like, laughing because I'm like, it's true.
Oh, let me turn my TV off. Because, like, listen, you know, if you Marco Polo me, you know when I'm like, I'm going to bed, and then I Marco Polo you back, and all you see, like, especially if you
it's
see
just like
it
the
on,
glow.
Yes, you know that you probably have, like, maybe 10 minutes. You might be able to get me back in, but I'm like, there is something so comforting about it. And, you know, this is one of the reasons why I love the comfies. It is like an anxiety blanket, but better.
Thank you.
Like, this isn't a plug. I'm telling you, if you have anxiety, if you have autism, ADHD, if you need, like, an anxiety blanket, but you don't want the, like, necessarily, like, all that weight, the comfy is just like somebody is hugging you, but it's you hugging you, and it's
I was surprised it took you so long to buy one as much as I talked about it. All three, the regular, like, thick weight one, the thinner weight, the dream one, that's the black one I wear all the time, and their, like, teddy bear textured one, are all perfection. And I recommend having one of each at least. And Isabel makes a good point. Like, that's the other part, is that the last year has caused fresh trauma, and it's exacerbated existing conditions. Like, my depression skyrocketed over the last year. The last year has been some of the toughest times for me mentally, but it's also given me amazing honestly amazing friends and amazing community. And so, like, I could look at the last year and be like, wow, this is one of the worst years of my life. But at the same time, it's been, I guess, in some ways, one of the most, I don't even know what's the right word for it. Almost like the most, I don't want to say rewarding. It's like one of the most connective years because I've gotten to know
Yes.
myself more, and then having a
Yes.
community. Like, I feel like I've connected with other people that have made me a better person, and then I've also connected more inside of myself. So
Off topic, but I just wanted to say, I don't fuck with spicy water, even if it's got booze in it.
I just really don't fuck with White Claw. I like seltzer, but I don't.
No, I don't mess with spicy water at all. I don't care if it's got booze in it. No, thank you. I'm good.
Transformative but confusing, traumatic and transformative, a call to authenticity. Yes. And there was also the BLM movement's brutality last year.
Yes.
Like, so that's why it's like, it's been such an intense 12, 13 months now. Yeah. And so I'm not putting that at light in any ways. Like, I'm I've learned so much about myself, and that's amazing. But like, also, it's been a fucking hard year.
It's like, not getting any easier, honestly.
No, that's also the thing. It's just like, it's just been a lot. Also, welcome, Alex.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah, and there's still so much going on. Like you said, it's not getting any easier. But I think with mental health, I feel like I've been saying this for years. Like, the more people that can in their safe spaces talk about it, like, the better. Like, I feel like when you have people in your life that you can actually be open to, where they don't judge you, because that was another comment earlier about, like, once somebody knows something about, like, how you're neurodivergent, they use that as the reason for why you do everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, no. Like, sometimes it's not because I'm ADHD, it's just because I didn't like the thing you did.
Yeah, like, I mean, I know that, like, they call it time blindness. Or time blindness, object permanence. And basically, I have, like, a lot of people with ADHD, and there's somebody I follow on TikTok named Leslie Saidi. And
good night, Lydia.
Good night, Lydia. The thing about object permanence is, the short thing is out of sight, out of mind, right? But scientifically, it's your working memory. Your working memory is trash a lot of times if you have ADHD. So a lot of people who have ADHD, quite literally, don't remember something. Like, I could have said something 5 minutes ago, and then you would be like, remember you said that? And I'd be like, did I? And that's why it's, like, hard sometimes, and why, like, that's deeper than I want to go. But I think it can be easy to be manipulated because there's stuff you just genuinely don't remember.
Actually, that was a really good. Okay, if y'all, not everyone's on TikTok, I get it. If you are on TikTok, please follow Audra on TikTok, because I think that the stuff you talk about is super important. And when you asked a question about not tying together these things, but asking if people that were neurodivergent or had ADHD, I'm not sure how you worded it, have also been in less ideal relationships, abusive relationships, or manipulative relationships. The tie that I see, not just with romantic relationships, but the amount of people in my life that I've seen that I would say are neurodivergent in some way, that have also been, I'm just going to say, mistreated by friends, by lovers, by family. It boggles my mind, and it makes me really, really upset, because I do think that it makes you easier to manipulate, or maybe not easier, but it gives people that are manipulative people this, like, kind of clay to work with. And you're like, I'm not here to be manipulated, but also I don't remember what I said. There
And
you
for me,
go.
it's also like I can be quite literal oftentimes. Like there was a Twitch stream where somebody said something talking about a cake mug, like, and I was like, I'm gonna need you to explain this to me. Is it a literal mug? Like, do you make a cake in a mug? And they were like, yes. I'm like, because that's what I envisioned, but I don't want to buy this thing if I have to make a cake in my oven. I don't use my oven. I use my air fryer. My apartment would burn down if I cooked with my oven. Let's be honest. Like, I know I would burn down my house. That's okay.
Also, I wasn't talking as much about people with ADHD being the twats, more that people with ADHD often, in my opinion, and this was something that Audra asked, was like, I can see them being manipulated by bad people easier than non-neurodivergent people.
The happy squirrels just fucked me up. I just on TikTok. I'm so excited for my next TikTok binge. I hope I remember everything. So I have to buy, like, I need probably like 6 or 7 more notebooks, because I have to have, the only way that I keep my video ideas together in any way, shape, or form is either I immediately film it as soon as I have the idea, or I write them down in my various notebooks. Currently, I have like 2 or 3 of them floating around, but I need I need them in every room and like on every surface, so I can just be like, and have like a pen right by it.
Yeah.
And that's what helps me, because like otherwise I wouldn't get anything done. So
yeah. I myself, other people, like, I see the things that happen in manipulative relationships, and I see how a lot of neurodivergent people, how their weak points, I'm going to call them, even though I don't think you're weak for being neurodivergent, but I think that they can be kind of really, really worked on. And
working memory is a weak point in a sense, because if anybody who has, and that's not just ADHD, that's anybody who has PTSD, anybody who has working memory issues, someone who's manipulative, once they figure that out, can use that to their advantage, to be like, they don't remember shit.
Jess is like, I'm super good at being walked all over, rejecting sensitive dysphoria. I'm like, I'm a people pleaser. To what degree that is depends on how bad I am mentally, honestly, because there are times where I will like bend over backwards to do things where I'm uncomfortable. I'm going out of my way for a person that I don't even like that much because of the things in my brain. And then there are other times where I'm like, oh, I don't have to do that. Right. Okay. But it doesn't have, it's not consistent. It's not like, oh, I was this way 5 years ago and this way now. No, kind of just depends on the day.
I mean,
yes, Alex.
I've had some difficulties, and I think that, like what you were saying is while 2020 and into 21 has brought a lot of horror and horrific things, a lot of which I finally just started being like, I'm not paying attention to this because I can't do it. I cannot do it. I was like, please stop sharing Black trauma on my Twitter. But
that everyone just needs to stop. Like, that's not.
Please stop it. It's I don't need to see it over and over. You can tell me that it happened. I don't need to see it. But in amongst all of that, I was able to like gain acceptance for my autism and be able to feel confident that like I'm not like autistic. I'm a person with autism. I am a human, a whole human being, and it's all right. It's okay. And I'm finally starting to share more of it on my channel, because I feel like, hey, because I like the way I have to. If y'all knew how exhausting filming is when I'm trying to like keep it like neurotypical, it's a little rough for me. Like when I'm trying to keep it where I'm like, pay attention, focus, say this thing, pay attention to your notes. Like it's very rough, and it just exhausts me after I filmed it. And now, like yesterday, I feel like yesterday I filmed 2 videos, and I really wasn't exhausted from that. I just like, I fell out from like, I think I was editing and like doing a little bit of Marco Poloing with folks. So But now I'm not, I don't, now that I did that, I was like, I don't think I can go back to trying to make my videos like neurodivergent, like neurotypical, making it easier. I'm just going to film it the way that I am. And if people
Yeah.
cannot handle the fact that I like go in little tangents, I understand that. I'm not going to be mad at them. I understand it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm tired of constantly trying to stay on task.
Because here's the thing I will say. You forcing yourself to stay in a neurotypical space while filming is basically the same energy it's masking. And
Yeah.
that's something that you, having not had to do that in a work situation for the last year, you've talked on, I think, your channel or TikTok, and we've talked about like how much of a weight that has lifted off of you.
Yeah.
And so this is why, yeah, you shouldn't have to, like, it's your channel, it's your space, and you shouldn't have to mask in that. And I think that the last year has been really hard, but I hope that everyone that's has felt seen tonight, that you have a community that's here to help with these things. Yeah. So also,
we'll definitely be talking about this again.
Yes, because I really love talking about, yeah, exactly. That's masking. Yes, masking and molding myself for the mundane world is really a robbery of joy. So if you can take nothing else from the last year, I hope that it's helped you find yourself more and be more open to being yourself in all of its layers. Yay! That's a compliment. Okay.
There's very few people I have that with too.
Yo, I'm getting emotional because I always get emotional, but I feel like this topic it's so complex and deep, and the chat has just been like a gold mine in terms of everyone sharing and opening up, and just know that we see you and appreciate that. And I think on that note, there will be lots more conversations. I think talking about RSD in particular, if that's not a live chat, I'll definitely want to do that on my channel as like a get ready with me. But anyway, we'll do more neurodivergent conversations between our two channels. And yes, please go subscribe to Audra's channel. Feelings time. There we go. Feelings time with Emily and Audra. Because I'm usually the one being like, let's feel the feelings.
I know, like,
actually,
no.
I didn't realize I was getting emotional till the very end. And then I was like, what? Oh, salty water. Go away, salty water. Anyway, thank you all truly for being here all the time and for spending time with us. And like I said, being as vulnerable as you feel comfortable to be. And if you have any neurodivergent requests for conversations, you can always leave them in the comments, not in the live chat because I'm gonna not see those, but in the comments. And we'll definitely be on the lookout for them. And don't forget, Friday, is it same time, 8 p.m. Eastern?
I believe so, yeah. I'm gonna get confirmations, but yeah.
Okay. And we're gonna have a special guest. So we're gonna be back this Friday. And hopefully we will see you all there on Audra's channel. Thank you again. And don't forget to take care of yourself better today than you did yesterday. Wait, I don't even have the brand thing opened.
Much love.